Okay, this is the Your Life, Your Term show takeover with myself, Anthony. So I'm a membership coordinator, content producer with Rockstar, and Aiden Karadza, who's Mr. Thomas.
Yep, I'm Tom's son.
Tom's son.
Helping out with the membership team again this summer. Glad to be back.
Yeah,
And
so
we're taking over.
Tom and Nick are living it up in Croatia. So we decided we'd take over the podcast. And we're having our good buddy Lorenzo in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
So
thanks for coming, man.
Lorenzo, what exactly do you do right now?
So right now I'm the underwriting manager for BM Select. So obviously Dave Butler, Dan Patton, Mike Sanzini, all the guys there. So I'm the underwriting manager of the team. So anytime obviously you guys need a mortgage or any of the Rockstar clients need mortgages, and most of them do work with us. And I'm basically manage all the underwriting for our team.
Yeah. So how does that work? So just give me a little... give me the background of how BM Select or Butler works. Like, what's the structure? Yeah,
so basically the way, I guess, anytime a new client comes to us, the way it starts off is that they'll definitely be introduced to one of our sales agents. Sometimes it'll be me. Most of the time, 95% of the time, it's going to be either Dan Patton or Mike Sanzini, which a ton of people are definitely familiar with. They'll do an intro call with you. They'll talk to the clients, figure what they're looking at doing, kind of put together a preliminary plan. Just basically, hey, here's what I'm looking to do. Here's what we can likely do. But obviously, a lot of that's just kind of high-level conversation.
I was going to say, are they crunching numbers?
Not at that point, no. There's not really much to do until we get the actual person's file and all their documents. It's more so just kind of a high-level conversation of what we're looking to do and kind of putting together a preliminary plan.
Okay.
From that point on, we'll have our applications team. They'll reach out to the client. They'll send them basically a copy of our application and then basically collect all the documents. So we've been through that a ton. So mortgage statements, tax bills, pay stubs, anything that you could think you have, that we'll collect it.
Blood tests.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So then from there, basically the file gets sent over to one of the underwriters. So that's obviously the team that I manage. And they'll put together basically the client's pre-approval. They'll start working with lenders if it's a live deal. And they'll basically work to put together some options for the client. At that point, the sales agent, Mike, Dan, will give you a call. Basically, hey, here's what we're working with now. This is what we think we can do for you. This is what we can do for you.
So they're just communicating with the underwriter.
Correct. Yeah. Now, to be in sales, you have to have the strongest knowledge of underwriting. So obviously, they know exactly what.
Did they start as underwriters?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Okay. Everyone who goes into sales, especially with us and our team, we would never let someone in.
So what's the process if you're getting into like the mortgage business, or at least at your business? You kind of, where do you start?
Usually, it depends on the person, but typically you'll start in underwriting. And then you'll just obviously learn the underwriting, learn mortgages. But once you can do a mortgage start to finish, in a sense that you can basically do the intro call all the way to closing the actual file once the approval is in by yourself. At that point, once you're very comfortable, you're ready to go into sales, because now there's nothing that someone could throw at you that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you can speak to it.
Exactly.
And isn't that how Dan and Dave started?
It was
start to finish, underwrite to finish.
Exactly.
And then they're like, hey, we got to scale this thing.
Exactly. And eventually you can't do everything, but...
Yeah, and then build more of the team, totally.
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, you have to especially to be in mortgages, like there's definitely people out there that are just, they're salespeople, which is good, but... You don't want to be that person. You have to fall back on someone else all the time, right? So us guys on our team, like Dan and Mike specifically, like they know exactly, like they know underwriting better than most people, right? So they're fantastic at it, and that's kind of how we make salespeople out of underwriters.
Yeah, I didn't realize growing up, but like every business is just started by like having one skill, whether you're a barber and you just cut hair, and then realizing like, hey, if I want to scale this and have a legit business, and not just be self-employed, I need to build a team.
Yeah, and it's not everybody too. Yeah,
it's almost every business. It seems like starts that way. And I didn't realize that. Like it's like what Tom and Nick did with
100%,
Rockstar.
Yeah,
they were real estate agents, start to finish, and then they're like worked on marketing and brought in team members and now built it up. Put systems in place, and now we have all the coaches who are essentially the
sales guys.
The sales guys, right? And then we have Tom and Nick who are doing the research and marketing and that type of stuff. But it's like every business. I didn't realize that.
100%. And it's definitely something where it's like some people, if they're like, for the barbershop example, some guys end up just staying at that one person. That's they're going to do for the rest of their life, which is fantastic. And then obviously very few people end up growing to something really large, right? Kind of like Tom and Nick did, or Dave and Dan, same idea.
Yeah, I guess it's just what you want out of life.
Exactly, yeah. And some people don't have the vision for it too. Like some people like, hey, I can see how this can get bigger. Some people are just really happy with, and they don't really see past their just one chair cut and barbershop.
Yeah. It's just whether or not you're business minded.
Exactly.
Maybe. Yeah. Like my barber, he just loves cutting hair. Yeah. And he's like, I just want to keep leveling up.
Same guy, exactly.
Yeah. And he's just, I love it. I love the conversation and stuff. Yeah. And it's whatever makes you happy. Yeah. And then a guy like that is perfect to like invest in real estate. because he can still grow his wealth on the side. It's just he doesn't necessarily want to do that with his day job.
Absolutely.
And like spend his time doing that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
We were just talking before the podcast. You just bought your third place.
Yeah, so I bought a second place for myself to move into, and then I ended up buying a new build as well. That I'm gonna be obviously got to get that set up this week.
How old are you?
23.
23.
Yeah.
So maybe let's give a little bit of a background story, or how have you got to this point at 23 where you just about to, get your third property here?
Dude, I thought I worked hard for like a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
You make me feel lazy.
No.
You make me feel lazy.
No, you have an awesome story just from like starting in university, what you've done at the beginning of that time to now.
I'm genuinely impressed every time I talk to you.
Oh, thank you. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically what ended up happening was obviously, even in high school, like I was always kind of like a business-minded kid, like always just little side things I could find, sell it, like type of idea.
What were you selling in high school?
Honestly, like any little things, like
anything illegal.
No, but like it was like little things, right? Like even to the point where, like my dad had like rental properties, right? And I swear, like one time, a couple of tenants left like a bunch of spare tires at the property, and they moved out, and so he's like, hey, you could take these and sell them. And to me, that was like crazy, right?
Yeah,
so
let's
I
go.
took them, right, drove all the way downtown Hamilton, started trying to pawn these off to people, just stuff like that.
Just on the road, like on the side of.
Well, like there's like I ended up doing this a decent amount, but you end up finding like tire shops basically that resell used tires. So then I'd bring it to them, try to sell it to them type idea. Yeah. But yeah, so just little stuff like that in like high school, and then university came, and then obviously university's like it's expensive, right? And so my parents did fantastic. They paid for all my tuition. But obviously you have to pay for like room and board and stuff like that. It was kind of like our agreement to split. And so then I was like, okay, like I got to make sure I have enough money obviously to like survive. And I was always just kind of like a business minded kid. So in university started obviously trying to figure out some stuff that I could do just to make some extra money. And then, I kind of just started doing little things on the side there. And then eventually, obviously, the summer of first year, I went into I obviously met Dave probably the year before. I think everyone knows that story, but then I started working for.
Did you just skip over the part where you were filling a bunch of properties?
No,
okay,
that comes next. No, that comes next. No. And then, then I met Dave that summer, and then started working at it was Butler Mortgages at the time, now BM Select. And I was just kind of in the office there, just doing the odd job. And I was like literally in first year. And then at that point, I remember I was talking to an investor because we used to do a lot of credit checks for people. And they were telling us about how they were having trouble renting their houses and stuff like that. And again, like my parents, no story. They were investors. I've filled properties with them since I was like small. My parents would always bring me and stuff like that. So I kind of had a good idea of how to do it. And they were complaining how hard it was. And I thought, that's not that, like, I could probably do that. Doesn't seem that difficult.
Yeah.
So then I ended up saying, okay, that's going to be like my little business. I'm going to try that. And so like obviously I'd work during the day, and then every night I'd go home, and I made this like script basically like of, hey, I'm Lorenzo. I've been doing this for a very long time. Just kind of like a big sales pitch thing. And I went on Kijiji and then emailed back. So like people post their listings. And and Kijiji was really big for rental properties at the time. That was like the biggest site. Yeah. And I just responded to literally like, it might've been like 5,000, 10,000. I guess I was really doing for like 8 hours a night, like just clicking the button, like
Okay, so that's how you got landlords to know that you would fill their
property. So I'd respond to their ads.
Okay.
I've gotten a few of those from property managers and stuff on my ads where they're trying to like get my business because they see small time landlords trying to fill their property on Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly. Yeah. So and that's honest. I didn't know why I thought to do that. I just was like, this to me makes logic. Like, how else am I going to get a hold of them, right? So then literally, like, it must have been like 2-3 weeks of literally every night just hitting send. And I just, honestly, it wasn't even like realizing that no one was responding to me. I was just so busy hitting send, I didn't even like notice that. Nothing
Good for you for sticking
back.
It out that long.
Yeah, but it was I didn't even notice it, to be honest. And it ended up being like maybe 2.5 weeks later, I was like, okay, just kept heading send all day. I just didn't even notice.
And so at this point, are you living in Guelph?
I was in Guelph and at home. Like I was a student at that point.
And are you filling properties anywhere or?
So I started in the summer, so I was at home.
Okay.
So I kind of set the Kijiji location like Hamilton, St. Catharines at first, just to like see what would happen. And so then 2 weeks later, I got some guy called me and he's like, hey, I got a student rental in Brock. I'm having trouble filling it. Like kind of went out, met him, and then that was my first one. And I was able to fill that, obviously. And then from there, he ended up having an uncle who had a property, and then it just literally started snowballing.
From that.
Yeah, I kept doing the emails every night still for a bit, and then eventually after like a month, I couldn't even do emails because ended up just the word of mouth started growing. Yeah, and then yeah, so I kind of started doing that, and it was just by myself at first off, just one property fill, move on to the next type of idea. And then obviously I started getting some bigger clients like property managers and stuff like that. I would do like they would outsource it to me, and then I had to hire a couple people to keep up with it.
Who did you hire at that point?
It was honestly like it was
friends.
Yeah, it was started off rough. Like I'd hire like literally anybody.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
One of my friends would be like, "Oh, like what are you doing now?" And I'd be like, "This," and then like they need a job. I'm like, "Perfect, get in here." And then just throw them in. Then sometimes they'd suck, sometimes be good. Then you have to like be like, "Hey, this isn't working out." Like
totally.
Right. So then yeah, it was just literally anybody you could find. Like I went to Guelph too, so then there was a lot of kids in like they have a real estate program at Guelph. So a lot of kids that want to be maybe real estate agents or want to be in real estate. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, I knew a bunch of those kids. So I was like, hey guys, like this is what I'm doing. Like they asked me like, hey, like, what are you doing? Because I was always kind of like just different. I was never the one to be like just kind of, hey guys, here's like what's going on. Yep. I didn't have the normal like everyone got a job in Toronto or stuff like that. So everyone was just kind of curious of what I was doing. So then I was like, this is what it is. And so I take a lot of those kids because they were interested in it at first. And then yeah, I never had like a crazy amount of like people. It was always like probably like 2 or 3.
But still, at that age, to be doing something like that's pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
it was cool. Yeah, so did that for
I'm sure you learned a lot.
Oh, tons.
Oh my God, you get such crazy. Good real estate experience.
Oh, it's crazy, like, and even dealing with people, like dealing from like the investor side to like of the actual landlord, because sometimes they're like brand new landlords don't even know what's going on. Sometimes they're like you know what I mean, from that just to the crazy tenants. Like 90% of these properties, once I got pretty big, were like downtown Hamilton. Like they weren't the best area, and it wasn't like houses, it was like apartment units. Yeah, it was like literally like they'd give me like, here's 15 units in this property I need in this like building to fill. You're not getting the best quality tenant there.
The property feels like inherently stressful on either side. If you're the tenant looking for a place to move, you're like stressing out about it. Maybe your landlord just sold the house. You've got 2 months to find a place. Of course. It's just stressful. They're trying to manage their life. And then on the landlord side, they have all these carrying costs for their units.
They want to get that thing filled.
And they're like, what's going on? What's going on? You start questioning the big investment. You just, put like all your life savings to buy this property and nobody wants to rent it out. It's just very stressful process.
And the other thing too was like finding the right one, because I'd have some people like, and I honestly, to me, I was like, I always thought it was like, it was my place or my parents, like, you don't want to put someone terrible in there. And I would tell people like, wait the extra month to fill it versus getting someone that you're not sure 100%. For. And now you're 7 months in trying to kick them out. Because
me and Anthony have a good story about someone that we didn't let sign the lease in London. Yeah, we could talk about that.
What happened?
This was the worst that I've seen. So I've been filling properties the past year, and I was like, oh, I could do London if Aiden helps me out. So I had a friend.
Like for sure, yeah.
Yeah, a friend of a friend who bought a place in London. Really impressive girl, Jackie. She just joined Rockstar. She's I think she's my age. She's 26, 27. Yeah. She bought a place by herself. She's a nurse. She wanted to rent it out. She asked if I could help her. And Aiden was going to school in Western. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So Aiden was doing showings for me. We did, Aiden, we had a whole pre-screening process in place using Google Forms and stuff to pre-qualify all of our tenants.
Everything was looking good.
Everything looked good. The guy passed the test. He made it to the showing.
So I met him at the condo. Seemed like a completely normal guy. He was there with his girlfriend. Then later that night, he sent all of first and last month's rent, which was a little bit
I told
weird.
Aiden, I'm like, dude, you broke the record. I'm like, you got first and last. I've only ever got last.
So, I tell Anthony this. I'm like, I think this is amazing. What's happening? We got all this money up front already. So then we're like, okay, we'll run the background checks. And then I think I get a text or call from Anthony. And he's like, dude, this guy was like a jail escapee. I think we
ran a single key report, and it runs a criminal background check. And the credit wasn't the best, so we wouldn't have taken it anyways. But I'm just scrolling down, looking at the rest of the report. And then all of a sudden I see the criminal record check, which I've never seen after doing dozens of these things, like just lit up with all these like news crazy. Articles and stuff. It was like prison escapee at 19.
Yeah, firearms, drugs.
We Google his name. It was AK-47.
Yeah, cocaine. It was crazy.
And he seemed completely normal and everything.
He put on a good show. He had me sold, man. Yeah.
I was like,
that's crazy.
Aiden, what happened here? How'd this guy make it through?
No, that was funny. When you
that's crazy.
That was the worst I've seen.
Yeah,
Other than that, it's been
that's a good story. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
None of mine were like that crazy. Like obviously you have your crazy stories. Yeah. Like I've definitely had, but you're downtown Hamilton a lot of the time, like especially like 5 years ago, like definitely 4 years ago, I guess it would have been. There's definitely like different crowd too.
So you think it's kind of gentrified now downtown? Like
it's gone a lot better. Oh yeah, definitely gone a lot better. Also, there's still some pockets, but like even when I go down there now, you can tell there's like starting to be a little like the good difference.
Yeah.
So it's definitely changing down there for sure.
Yeah. Cool. I find that same with Brampton. Like I was just up in Northern Ontario and I just came back down to Brampton in the GTA and I was like, wow, it's such a bubble here. Yeah. Like we're so, I don't know, protected here. Like it's just a really nice quality of living down here versus some of the smaller towns I was driving through in Northern Ontario. And, it's crazy. You don't get that perspective.
No, not at all. Not at all. And you're always stuck inside your own little world and you're just trying to get through your day.
Yeah. So you were filling properties and then what happened with that?
So then, I was doing that. I did it for about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. And then, I was starting to get toward the end of like university and I wanted to really I was like still going back to work with Dave every summer and doing the mortgages. And I really liked that, to be honest. The property fills, it does get tiring after a while because you just, even like when I was living in Guelph, I literally like have days where if you had people working, it was good and it was like decent. But then when everyone would just quit because it takes a lot of drive, I guess, especially in those winter months when it's tougher to fill properties and you have to go 3 or 4 times out. And people are like trying to get like a lot of people quit on me. So I'd have to do all of them by myself at that point. Mm-hmm. Those drives from like Guelph to like downtown Hamilton every day, or Guelph to St. Catharines, because I was still living there going to school. Those got tiring after a while. So then I was just like, I wanted to honestly just take them. Like I could have kept doing it probably, but I just wanted to take the mortgage like really seriously. I wanted to do that full time. So I ended up having a decent client base, like a pretty good one. There was a lot of residual business because I had some like I had a couple investors that owned like 100 properties. Like one guy owned like 100, one guy owned like a couple hundred.
Holy.
Yeah. And like, these are just like big time guys that I ended up getting connected to. And then I had 1 or 2 property management companies as well that were outsourcing it to me. Mm-hmm. So ended up being like those each were like 5 houses a month, 7 houses. Like there was definitely like a residual income there a bit. So I was able to kind of sell it just for a little bit and just sell it off. And then, got a little bit of money, which was great, and then ended up buying my first property too, based in that time. I don't think it was right before, it's a little after. But
so you flipped the proceeds from that?
I can't remember if it was in that time frame. I don't remember if I did it before and then bought the house or sold and then bought. It was like some in that, but it was in that.
Okay, but before we get to that part, I just wanted to say you were playing university soccer.
Yeah.
So all this as well, right?
Yeah. So the first 2 years, like when I went to Guelph, one of the reasons I went was for soccer. Like so, I played soccer first year, second year, and then by the end of second year, like that's like the business started getting really busy, and there was no way I could do all 3 anymore. So in the end of second year,
I was gonna say you're busy with all 3 at once. Yeah. That's a lot going on.
Yeah, like that second year, I was doing literally all 3 for the whole year, and that was just like it was crazy. Yeah. So it got to a point. Like, even when like that school year finished, I was like, I don't think, and I really was tough because I really like played soccer and stuff, but. Yeah, I was like, there's no way I can keep doing this. Like, that was nuts.
Mm-hmm. So then now you're in 3rd or 4th year when you purchased this first property?
Yeah, it was my, I think it was either the very end of 3rd year, it would have been beginning of 4th year, I guess.
And what was your decision? I guess I know your dad obviously is realistic.
Yeah, he's honestly just pushing me. Like, obviously, like I would tell him about everything that I was doing there, and obviously saved up a good chunk.
And I guess now you saw a lot of this happening. You were filling properties, mortgages, so you're familiar with a lot of this.
And like I might have been like even right from like high school, I always knew I wanted to buy properties. Like I watched my parents do, my dad do it all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, this is something I want to do too, and I always knew that. And then literally, right, probably 4th year, I think it was would have been right literally the first week of 4th year, something like that. I ended up I saved a bunch of money. My dad was like, hey, go buy the house now. He was like one kind of like pushing me basically, because I was like, I was just busy, and I was like, and honestly, you don't even realize, like, pick your head up and realize like, oh, I can do that now. Or have the down payment even. Then obviously I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And then I ended up knowing a guy that was doing flips. It was basically taking single family homes, converting them to second suites, and then selling them. So I called him and I said, hey man, do you have any, like, cause I was filling properties for him because he wanted to rent them up before he'd sell them. And I was like, hey, like, I'm looking to buy one now. Do you have anything ready? He's like, actually I do. Went, saw it, bought it. And then that was
where was this one?
This one's St. Catharines.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a duplex in St. Catharines, bought that. And then kind of started and that was like my first house basically.
Mm-hmm. So what do you like about mortgages? Because I can tell you really like it. Yeah. Talking to Zanzini and Dan Patton and Dave Butler, like, I can tell you guys just love it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And to work as much as you guys do and be, so
like it's 2 months ago or something or whatever, I closed on my last property. You called me at like 8:30 at night. And I'm like an early morning guy. I was like getting ready for bed.
Yeah, you guys must enjoy what you're doing to be doing.
And I was like, dude, why are you calling me? Are you still working?
Oh yeah, no, we're kind of working a little opposite too. Like usually before 9's like tough because we work so late. Like we'll go to like definitely like late hours, but yeah, definitely. So we do like it. It's weird too. You don't usually find a ton of people that just love mortgages.
So what's so exciting about it?
Honestly, for me, it's just being able to like get someone approved. Like, to me, like I actually like really enjoy like someone comes to us with like basically, hey, listen, like here's what I have, and I want to buy properties. I want to build a portfolio. And to me, being able to kind of help facilitate, like now it's not just the realtor, there's a lawyer, there's too many people in the.
The mortgage is a massive role.
But being able to kind of be like a key role in the process of being able to help someone, and like you're kind of, to be honest, as the mortgage person, you're the planner almost essentially. The realtor is gonna go find you the house, do the tenant, like they'll help you with all that.
Only if you get an approval.
Only if you get an approval, right? So just being able to kind of help plan for someone and actually say, hey, here's a plan, and then being able to actually execute on it too. So they're like, wow, this guy gave me a plan and ended up able to like do the plan. Like that to me is like really, really exciting. So I like that part of it. Dealing with the banks too is just it's crazy, as crazy as, but you also learn a ton. So I'm kind of like, oh, it's kind of cool learning like kind of how they think they operate. And to me, I think even if like in anything, like that kind of gives me perspective on how like big corporation stuff look at different things that are happening.
What are some of the big takeaways from that? Like
honestly, it's just a lot of it's like being able to understand like, hey, when stuff happens in the market, like here's why, here's how the bank's looking at it, right? Because to be able to, like, obviously everyone wants to like, obviously the banks suck, like, and yeah, absolutely, like we have definitely everyone's got.
It's easy to bank bash.
It's easy to bank bash, right? Which is, and most of it's fair, to be honest, but it's also being able to kind of like, because you can bank bash all day, they're not going to change. Right. So it's like, you know what I mean? We can talk as much shit as we want. They're not going to like, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And at the end of the day, you have to be grateful. They're giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy properties that are going to change your life.
Yeah. So the way like we kind of look at it is being able to see from their lens, like how they're viewing it. And then they'll say, okay, so this is how the bank's looking at stuff. Now, this is now how we're going to position ourselves to help kind of fit in their mold, right? It's better than just saying, yeah, but they suck. Well, that's not going to help anybody, right? No. You're still not going to get the mortgage. So being able to kind of understand basically, hey, here's what's going on in the market, or here's what they're looking at with interest rates, or here's the way they're looking at these certain types of deals now, for example. How do we pivot and make sure we can still make everything work? Right, so that part's pretty exciting. That kind of gives you like perspective as well, being able to pivot when they come up with rule changes and stuff like that. That's fantastic. And then honestly, just the guys, like we have a really good, like obviously like the four of us, we have like another guy, Marco, obviously that one of my buddies that came worked with us. We have a great team. So that part's really fun every day too, just being able to like work with pretty much.
Yeah, we know some of your crew and you guys do have an awesome crew, and I'm sure that helps a lot, being able to work with those guys every day.
Huge. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Even you guys are all working remotely. Like
yeah,
you still get that connection.
Yeah, you still get that connection. We're on Zoom all the time.
How are you guys liking that?
I like it most, and honestly, our staff, I could like pretty safely say they're really happy with it too. And it's honestly, we've been able to find talent like in like skilled underwriting people that we would never have been able to get if we were in the office. To like, we have employees that live in Welland, live up north. We've had people live in weird places.
Totally, you guys are all spread out
most
now.
of the time in Ontario. So we haven't had like anyone like, yeah, I'm moving to BC or something. Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna happen, which is completely fine. But yeah, we have people that would never be able to work together if we were in the office. Yeah. Right. If you're downtown Toronto to Welland, like no one's making that commute to where they're Mississauga every day. Right. So yeah, that part is really fantastic. Just it opens up who you can hire basically.
Completely. Right? Yeah, and you've been able to manage and be in communication easily with everyone.
Yeah, Zoom's huge, right? So we literally like I have like my own Zoom room basically every day, and then so all the underwriters essentially will have times when basically you gotta come see me at XYZ time or anything. Like we have big things, we're all together on Zoom all day, and then just to keep that in person, we always have the in like our like we have like every couple months we do like a team thing, right? Just to make sure everyone gets together. But yeah, everyone pretty much likes it. Honestly, the driving too, it's like that commute when it's cut down to zero. Fantastic, right? Like you're just so much more productive during the day.
Especially with traffic now, like it is.
Huge.
Totally.
Huge. And our clients, like most of the time, like they don't want to meet with us anyway, right? Like they're just call me or Zoom me. They love the Zooms. Like a lot of clients we notice love Zooms, and we love actually like I like it better, to be honest with you, when I get to Zoom a client versus a phone call. It's a lot easier to explain stuff. Because I can just show them, hey, here's what I'm looking at, right?
Are you still able to pop into Dave's cottage for some work days?
Yeah, definitely be doing that. Yeah, absolutely. We still do that. So that's the other thing too. You can work from pretty much anywhere, right? Yeah. So even for example, like last year, I was like last October, went on vacation with a bunch of my friends, but like I still worked the whole, like nothing kind of went off, right? Like nothing went differently. The work day will still be able to be pretty similar. So there wasn't it's just one of those things cool that you can work from anywhere. Like we even have a couple like another agent that works like under he has his own branch, but he works like under a team, and he just moved to Barbados. As soon as COVID hit, he just got up, moved to Barbados, lives there part time now, and he's doing great. His business like just big, it got bigger. Yeah. Right. So it's just something you can do remote.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't find that dangerous, like that you can work from anywhere at any time? Like if you are on vacation with your friends and
It depends on the person, right? Like in our office, like obviously if it's for someone like me or Mike, like it's different. Obviously, like just we have stuff to do, so even if I'm going away, I gotta do it, right? But yeah, if we have like a regular like employee that's like, hey, I'm going on vacation, but I can still do stuff. Obviously, yeah, definitely a little. So we gotta be careful. Most of our people don't actually work from like anywhere because we have desktops, so they're not like we give them a desktop computer that's all locked up and stuff like that, so they can't actually technically go anywhere, but. Even like people like we have, like if you're trying to like kind of allude to people like being able to like, hey, they're at home, like slack off, like in our business, like you'll get outed within the first week.
Yeah,
like you're able to recognize that.
Yeah, and we have like a lot of we are pretty on top of everybody to the point where within about a week I'll be able to know either A, because I'm watching that you're doing nothing, B, because I can see your output every day. We have that all tracked, and then C, a client's gonna eventually call and say, hey, I haven't been able to get a hold of this.
You'll hear something.
Yeah, and it's never gonna go like, I'll be honest, like we've had it once or twice and it's never gone past a week, and then that person's like, obviously we deal with it really quickly and then kind of move on. But honestly, we ended up hiring too a ton of like students basically out of school. And those ones have been the best. Like I think everyone got used to do. A lot of those kids too were like used to like COVID learning anyway.
Yeah, online.
Yeah. So
any school
like,
in particular?
No, we kind of went pretty much across the board. We have a couple like Ryerson ended up being like a bigger school. It just came to us more so in a sense that we went to every school to kind of try to hire.
And how did you do that? You were going to the schools?
No, it was all Zoom too. It was literally it was crazy. It was literally
big Zoom guys.
Yeah, the Zoom. But yeah, they had like the career fairs were all Zoom based. Like when
really?
So like when we reach out to the schools, like, hey, we're looking to do like join your career fair. But yeah, the Zooms this day.
Do you have to pay to
Yeah, there was like there was definitely costs associated with it and stuff, but it definitely, I would say it's worth it. Definitely 100% worth it for us. We ended up getting some really, really good people that we hope we can grow.
That's awesome.
Why do you think that is? Just young and hungry?
Yeah, honestly, like, and our best employees that we've ever had have been like the young, hungry, like don't know anything about anything, basically just we get to like teach them, right? Like look how I came in, basically learn right from Dave, and then I had a buddy Marco that came in, learned from me.
Like, you guys are doing stuff. Right? I feel like
Mike's another one, right? Like he literally came in. Dan, even when we learned from Dave like 20 years ago, right? Like it's people who knew nothing. We have a couple people like they've always been our best staff. We've had people we've hired from other brokerages or other banks and stuff like that, and they're good too. Like they're nothing wrong necessarily, but these ones are just way better.
And I feel like for students coming out of university or still, working in the summer for you guys in university, it's cool that they're doing stuff right away. Because I feel like a lot of co-ops and sometimes jobs you can get through schools and universities, you're not
100%.
You're maybe working for some big corp, but you're not really doing much or seeing much.
100%.
And I think with you guys, they are.
Absolutely.
Which is super valuable.
100%. I've even asked them, I'm like, what are you guys friends doing this summer? And they're like, yeah, this guy works here, but he's doing not like, they don't even know, like anyone doing like real stuff. And these guys are after basically like a 6 week like big training with them. It was kind of like our own little like university program, we called it. But yeah, we did a big training, and then after that, they're like dealing with day-to-day stuff like that a normal employee would deal with, right? And they're like right away, like none of our friends are doing stuff like this, and it's actually crazy. You would think some like people have that kind of concept of like younger kids, like younger students or kids, or like Gen I guess Z, I don't know, whatever it is that they don't want to do any work. Well, these guys are like, no, this is sick. Like I get to do stuff. My friends aren't doing anything all day. They're bored.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of cool.
Well, I hear some of that stuff with my friends too, and I just feel like it's awesome that I'm here, being able to do stuff, seeing 100%. So many different things, talking with you guys here today. Like, it's so cool and valuable.
You don't have to be you came in, you're like, I want to start working, right? So there's people out there like that, 100%.
Yeah, I remember when I worked at Pepsi, I was on a big double forklift. So two forks come out and take 2 pallets off or whatever, and I was running the lines at Pepsi, and so big pallets of pop would come up. And I'd drive up, pick up the things, and then stack them in the warehouse. And then as we got shipments, other drivers would come, get the stacks, whatever. And there was one, I was just on this slow line. It was line 2 at Pepsi in Mississauga. And line 2 is just like notorious for always breaking down, being slow. So it's like the slack line.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was loving it because I just was so over Pepsi in that warehouse at that time. And I was just kind of hanging out, but I was just miserable. And I was kind of hidden in between like pallets, like rows of pop. And this guy drives by and he saw me and he's like, oh man, like you look miserable. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm just wasting my life away. I'm just sitting here like doing nothing. This isn't the skill I want to build, stacking up cases of pop. I'm like, I just don't want to be here. And he's like, you're doing nothing. Like, aren't you happy? Like, don't you want a job where you just do nothing? And I was like, no. You do? Like, your entire life, you just want to do nothing?
Yeah, eventually, you need a purpose, right? You need something to, like, push you. And that's what I think, right? Everyone needs something like that's, like, push them, challenge them. Like, you need something, like, where your brain's, like, switched on. Like, you're like, oh, my, got to figure something out.
Yeah, it's got to be a challenge. Yeah. It's got to kind of push you, like,
and you
want to
see the steps of growth.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, if you don't have that, it's just, like, you're just waiting to die.
Yeah.
Like it sounds drastic.
Yeah, what are you doing? Seriously,
Yeah.
like,
What are you doing? Yeah.
Especially when you're like younger. I guess when you're older, like if you've obviously got yourself set up and stuff, absolutely, that's when you kind of take it off. But like, yeah, at our point, like if you're just doing nothing right now, like, okay, like I guess it's up to that person. But yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, doing nothing is great sometimes when
Yeah.
you've been doing a lot.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, you get
And
to chill
sometimes
out.
you need
Yeah,
those
exactly.
moments.
A week is like good, but I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
like even
You
me,
need that.
like 2-3 days after, I'm like, okay, like I'm getting like really antsy now. Like, I'm just kind of like that too, or just like get antsy quickly. But yeah, like some people, like you just get antsy after a while, and that's fine if you get that week off. Everyone 100% you need that. But yeah, people are like, they only do a week on, the rest of the time's off. It's kind of like, yeah, you gotta switch it.
Yeah, it's just not like a fun way to live.
Yeah.
It's just empty. I don't know. I could probably do a month on a beach right now. And then,
absolutely.
but then after that, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
let's
100%.
take some action, make some things happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just bought a place for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just ended up being time for that. I was like, okay, I guess we're here now. Got time to move out.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
And a pre-construction for the future.
Yeah. So then the pre-construction, I had a good buddy. I was telling you guys, I had a good buddy of mine that his uncle owns owns a construction company, and they're doing a bunch of townhomes. And so he just like, hey, like, do you want one? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So obviously it ended up working out really well. It's not going to close for like a while. So I was like, yeah, like absolutely. Just let's see what happens. Yeah.
What are the people around you saying? Because at 23, I'm guessing you're getting people like, what the heck is Lorenzo up to?
Yeah, you get people like that. Honestly, like I have like a really good circle of like friends and stuff like that. So I don't really like talk to like 1,000 people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like everyone just kind of like I guess I'm not that everyone's used to it, but just like kind of, yeah, that's Lorenzo. He just does his own thing type of thing, right?
Is anyone interested? Are you?
Yeah, I got some friends. Yeah, I got some friends interested. Some friends just kind of like, it just depends on who it is. Some friends are really interested. Like for example, like Marco, like I was doing stuff. He would always like, he works with us now. Like we always did stuff
so he was
together.
one of your friends.
Yeah, he's one of my
awesome.
he's like one of my best friends. Yeah,
Oh,
so
awesome.
he ended up coming, but like stuff like we had stuff like that. Somebody's just they're interested. Some people just they know what like a lot of my friends do really cool things. So like they're just kind of everyone's doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just I kind of also just keep myself a little bit in a sense, or just like I just do my own thing. Kind of I work so much to the point I don't even like. Sometimes I'm just like. So like
Yeah, you don't even know what's going on.
I don't even know what's
else.
going on.
Well, you wake up in the morning and you just have like a packed day ahead of you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
got to get this done, this done, this done, this done.
Yeah, so like every day kind of bleeds into the next, which honestly I don't mind, but it's all, so I don't even notice if people even do notice or not. I'm just kind of like, I'm just got to get through my day, through the next week. You know what I mean? Just kind of keep going day by day.
I know I wanted to ask, because I know Anthony has some daily routines. He likes to cover some morning routine stuff. Do you have any of that stuff like set in place, or
not really? I try to work out like most mornings or some mornings. So I started like doing boxing and stuff like that.
with Dave, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. So I do that like probably like 2 to 3 times a week. Other than that, not necessarily. Like most of the time I wake up.
You guys at a boxing gym, or you just like?
No, he's got like a crazy gym in his
just
house.
Hitting each other in
No, he's got a crazy gym in his house. So like sometimes I'll go by there early and like
Dave wakes up and you're at his door.
Yeah, literally. Like I'll go in before they wake up. Sometimes start boxing early. But yeah, so then I go in there. Sometimes I'll box in the morning, then start my day. If not, I usually just wake up and then the first, and maybe probably this isn't even good to be honest with you. Like I know I've got like a good morning routine. I just at this point don't really have one. I just wake up, start working right away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally the first thing, and this probably is not good again, but the first thing I do is like check my phone, start answering emails.
I feel like everyone's different too, though,
Yeah.
the way they handle the.
Yeah, I'd love to have one, to be honest with you. It's just sometimes too, and it's weird. Like if you work like a super late night, it's really like when I'm like say super late, if you work like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, it's tough to wake up at like 7:30 the next day and be like, like I'm ready.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Can.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best morning routine is sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Some days are like, holy, I'll just like sleep right till like 8:45 just to like get that like extra 40 minutes.
It's so important, especially being up to like 3, 4.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not necessarily a crazy morning routine. Like again, sometimes I'll work out, but other than that, nothing crazy really. It's just mostly. What about you guys?
Anthony, I feel like you should cover maybe a little bit of what you started, because it's pretty interesting to me. And
yeah, so I got into waking up early probably like the past year, waking up at 5 a.m. and stuff.
No way.
Yeah, so 5 a.m. start during the weekdays at least.
Yeah.
And I was commuting from Brampton before. So I just hated the morning commute. It was like 45 minutes to an hour if there was an accident. So what I found is if I got up at 5 a.m., I could make it to the office, work on my own kind of personal stuff, property stuff. I've been doing a bunch of property fills. I could take care of all that stuff before like my workday starts, 9 to 5. And I found that I'd be locked in to go in the gym because I'd wake up and I'd have like bedhead, like I haven't showered, I'm
perfect time.
wearing my sweatpants, you know what I mean? So I'd be like, okay, I'm in Oakville, I'm stranded, I gotta look somewhat decent for the office, so I gotta go to the gym, I gotta work out. So I found it locked me into that routine. But then what I wanted to do was kind of prioritize just doing rock star stuff early in the morning and getting off earlier. So what I started doing probably about a month ago is I'll wake up at 4:30. I'll come in to the office and I'll work 5 to 7 here at the office. I haven't done this for the past 2 weeks because I just moved to Oakville. It's just been too much. But getting back to it next week. So I'll work 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then I'll go to the gym from about 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then work 9 a.m. to about 3. Get off at 3, go home, cook dinner, relax, do whatever, relax, do whatever I need to do for the night. Yeah. But I've just found like it locks me into all these good routines and it sets up 100%. That accountability because now it's expected. Okay, I'm supposed to be here at 5
and you're the guy that shows up at 5 a.m. now, so you have to be here.
Yeah, I'm supposed to. Yeah, and now 100%. I'm saying it publicly on a podcast.
Exactly.
So someone feel free to come up to me and call me out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's amazing.
So it's when I can stick to it, it's just incredible because by 9 a.m., I've already worked 2 hours. I've gone to the gym. I've stretched out. I've hit the sauna. Like I love my sauna routine.
Feeling good.
Yeah. I'm feeling good.
Good life recovery room.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Take a cold shower after the sauna and you come in 9 a.m., you're fresh. Yeah. Like you're awake. And most people are just like groggy at that time. That used to be 100%. Me for so long. And I was never a morning person. But the day that I, woke up early 5 a.m., managed to actually get out of bed because there's so many times where I've just slept through my alarms, hit snooze. The day I did it, I just felt incredible. I was like, this is like the way I want to live my life.
The times you can do it's amazing. Even like when I work out first before the day starts, like I'm like, oh, this is like way better.
Way better, 100%, yeah. Because like
especially doing the sauna and cold shower after too, like you're like wired after
you're
that.
Wired, yeah. You're just alive. A couple coffees, do some intermittent fasting, eat lunch. It's just like this amazing routine.
And now being in Oakville and there's a Good Life right across the street here from our office. Is super handy.
Yeah, that's cool. Having the gym right there and stuff. And then I just moved to Oakville because it was just the commute. I was like, so many things in my life would improve, and I listed them out if I just shortened my commute. If I lived in Oakville, if I had my own place, my own privacy, you know what I mean? Like everything in my life would improve from that one move.
100%. That commute's huge. Like even if we were to stay into the office, I probably would have moved closer to it. Just because having that like 45-minute to an hour commute, that's like killer. That's
one way,
day, right?
Yeah.
So that's killer. And that's 2 hours a day you're never going to get back really, right?
Yeah. So. And I would try to make the best of it. I would listen to podcasts. Yeah, 100%. I would do audiobooks. I would make phone calls to my family. So I would make the best of that time. Yeah, but there's some days where you just get home and you're just like spent, especially GTA traffic. Oh yeah. Just the stop and go, like the Brampton 410. Anyone who drives to Brampton at night knows that 410 is hell. Yeah. It's the bottleneck.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's definitely, and you want to get somewhere later, maybe the one that you have plans, and you're like, damn, I gotta leave the house at like 3:30 just to make it home for 6. Like, yeah. Oh yeah.
You said that you didn't think that working right away was the best routine, but I actually think like they say not to check emails, text message, all that type of stuff, but that's literally your line of work. Like, don't you have to do that, right?
Yeah, honestly, just in the mornings I wake up and I actually I always check my email first thing. Like literally, as I wake up, the first thing I do is just check my phone. And I've seen a lot of people say it's not good for you, but we're here now, so like it is what it is. I can't not do it.
But for you, is that not like your to-do list for the day? It's like, okay.
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of preset my to-do list for the day the night before, so I'll book like any meetings I have like stats. So I always have that make sure the night before. So the morning waking up is more so people who have emailed me overnight or something like that, or stuff that I didn't get to, like maybe like they email me like midnight or something like that, and I just was dealing with other stuff. Then I'll just respond to all that first thing, try to get back to as many people as possible, and then so you don't really have to necessarily, like you could probably start at 9. Just to me, I don't want to get that. If I start doing that stuff at 9, then I'm way behind. Yeah, like I'm already behind with the day. So I try to do that for the first like half hour, just kind of get my bearings, get caught up a little bit, and then if I can get the workout in, fantastic, and then just start the day.
Yeah, I think that's good though. Like you start tackling your work right away. Like when you have the most energy.
Yeah, that's true too. Absolutely.
Any day where I kind of delay doing work, like weekend days, stuff to do, I delay. It's like I have no motivation to do it. I have no energy.
Yeah, I agree. The morning time seems to be the best, even for me, just to get stuff done when I need to be done. Even sometimes after lunch here, I feel like I'm just less motivated and less locked in to what I have to be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. When I asked Tom and Nick if I could do the early morning routine and stuff, I put together like a document kind of selling the idea to them, and I knew they'd be all right with it because they're morning guys and stuff. They understand that. But I literally searched up like energy graphs of people during the day, and it show like morning time it spikes, and then just that afternoon dip. No matter how healthy you eat, no matter what you eat at lunch, I just find that afternoon dip is like natural. So I showed them those graphs, and I'm like, look, I'm getting off at 3 p.m. right when that dip starts. Like this is more productive.
Yeah.
I think I gotta try again the morning gym sessions, because I go like 4 times a week probably after. So I'm off at 5 and I'm there maybe at like 5:15. And if anyone knows the gym, that's the worst time to be going because it's completely packed. Yeah. So yeah, no, I definitely go to.
That takes a lot of like pushing yourself to go after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, no.
Good for you for being able to do that. That's a big push.
Yeah, it helps when I have some friends there and stuff too. But and at school, one of my roommates is like super into the gym, so that's kind of what got me into it. And if it wasn't for him, I don't even know if I'd be going this much. Yeah. So I'm fortunate about that.
That's the thing. It actually takes more willpower.
Yeah.
When you go at night.
Yeah.
As opposed to waking up early. Like it takes that initial bit of willpower, but if you can just close, don't think, just act, get out of bed, put your shoes on, make a coffee, whatever.
No, it definitely is harder. There's some days where I'm like, okay, I'm going home to eat dinner.
Yeah, 100%.
But at school, it's one of my favorite parts of the day because we all go together, and I'm like looking forward to that because it's like all 4 or 5 of us going, and that's awesome. But yeah, no, I got to start reattempting to do that in the morning.
Nice. Yeah. And you're going into 4th year, right?
Third.
Going into 3rd. Yeah. Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah, 3rd.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good, but.
Nice.
And you're getting ready to buy your first property.
I am. Yep. In the next couple of months, I'm waiting to see a little bit of information if that comes out about a condo here in Oakville. And then depending on what they say, I'll see what I do. But yeah, I'm hoping before the end of this year, I'll get the first property.
And this is just your down payment would just be from your entire life savings, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that my dad, I've been with him growing up, so I've been saving for this forever. I've been saving for my first down payment for a long time. I do have some money in Bitcoin, and obviously right now it's a little bit down, so that's made things a little bit more difficult. But
if it was up, do you think you'd cash out to get the property?
It's so hard because I love Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But no, I need to get this first property done. So yeah, even now I'm going to have to cash some of it out.
Even for yourself to live in, right? Because you're thinking when you're done school.
Yeah, maybe. That's why I'm thinking maybe the Oakville condo because I can use it as a rental for now. And then if I want to move out and move into that place, I can just because that's so close to obviously my house, my family, and the office.
Yeah.
But I'm still not 100% sure. I still obviously having a detached is so awesome. You guys both know. You guys have those.
Yeah.
So I'm still debating, but over the next couple of months, I need to make a decision, and I'll be contacting Lorenzo.
Yeah, I'm renting right now in Oakville, and just you grow up your whole life hearing, renting's bad, renting's bad, you're throwing your money away. But to me, it's I'm okay with it because I own property already.
It's not that bad. That's the biggest thing. That's almost a misconception. Almost, it's not that bad. So let's say, for example, someone has the money for the down payment on a house, but they're like, hey, I'm investing in X, Y, or Z, or I'm lending it out and I'm making a return of this every month. So I'm taking that money and renting. Mm-hmm. You're breaking even almost, like you're almost renting for free.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so it just depends on what someone's situation is, right? Obviously, there's a point where you're like, hey, I'm paying too much in rent.
Yeah, I feel like there's also a threshold because if you're going downtown Toronto paying an absurd amount of rent, maybe that's not worth it, but.
Yeah, your situation I just find right now, it seems like that's closer perfect. To where you want to live.
Yeah.
Like for me to buy a condo in Oakville, it's just a bit out of reach right now for me. Yep. But to rent, I can rent exactly where I live in a great, I get the lifestyle without having to put the money down and stuff.
100%.
But then I can put the money down and buy a rental property. So it's almost like the ultimate hack. It's like, and plus I'd rather invest in a single family detached home where I can duplex it, I can student rental it.
Totally.
I can, put up the extra bedrooms for student rental. Garden
more
suite
options
potentially.
Yep. Yeah, you have more options.
Sever the lot. You just have all these income options.
And I mean the detached, as everyone goes over the stats, the detached homes is just gonna be impossible to get.
100%.
They already are.
Even like a townhome, like to be honest, any single family home is gonna be insane. It's like in 10 to 15 years, like that's going to be very, very, that's a hot commodity, right?
Yeah.
Even now it is, right? You see those see those massive hedge fund companies coming out with like plans to put $1 billion into single family homes.
Yeah,
like when is that
the
ever?
GTA and buy like 100
when does that ever happen?
Yeah,
right?
you're no longer competing with just small time investors
100%.
Or homeowners, who are the majority, but now you're competing with massive corporations.
Yeah, that see the value in single family homes, right? So
that's also why I'm kind of debating still. I'm gonna see the details that come out with this condo, but I'm still debating. I'm like, maybe detach is the way to go, just because I have more options with it. And because it's definitely more scarce than the condos are gonna be.
Yeah, I just find like all my friends, young people, they're just locked into like I need to own my place, and for a lot of people my age, that's condos. And it's like you have other options. Rent a condo. You're not locked in. Like what if you don't want to be in downtown Toronto forever or wherever you are? Buy that house now because it's gonna get tougher and tougher to buy that single family home in a few years from now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the more just own something, right? Even if like if you do rent where you live, just own something, own stuff, own equity, stocks, houses, like just own something.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin. Yeah, own something.
Yeah. Have your money go to work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then you can rent just for your housing needs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's like the ultimate hack, and nobody ever talks about it.
Okay, so we were talking about this a little bit before, but I would like to hear both your opinions on the condo, maybe purchasing a condo versus a detached, because that's something I'm going through right now.
Yeah, I mean, the pre-construction condo, like Lorenzo just bought one, and it's because it was a really good opportunity and it was a low deposit, like we were talking about before. And so I think if you don't necessarily have all the money for a property right now, but you know you can get that down payment over the stretch of the construction period or the deposit structure, why not? Like, it's better than nothing.
Totally. Yeah.
I think that's when it makes sense. If you really, really just want to own that condo and live in it in Oakville, then that makes sense.
I think the location was the biggest thing for me, right by the GO train there.
Yeah, like, you know, it's going to be a good investment still.
But no, it's tough. Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough. I'll have to see.
And I mean, you're going into your third year, so like, when's that condo going to be built? Probably 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, and I was thinking when that closes, I'll probably be able to take equity out right away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
but you won't be able to live in it in the next 3 to 4 years.
No.
So if you're like, as soon as I graduate school, I know I don't want to move back home. You know, like, I know I want to.
I think I will though. But yeah, no, these are all good things to think about.
It's stuff to think about because I thought about buying one of those condos for myself before I rented this place, and I was like, well, that's 4 years from now.
Yeah.
But I'm personally ready to be on my own right now. Yeah. So that was
totally.
It just depends on what you want to do with. Like, if you're like, hey, listen, I'm renting it out, not necessarily for the investment, but I'm renting it out just until I move in. Then,
no, I need an investment property.
Well, then, if it's something, it just depends, right? Like, could you find a better investment property than a condo with like crazy condo fees? Probably, right? Like, especially with the networks that we all have, you could probably find something better. So if it's a strictly investment, maybe you're like, run your numbers like, I'm going to be in the hole this much, or be making this much, for the condo fees go up by
totally, and I'll be doing that.
Happen. But if you're like, hey, listen, it's in Oakville, it's close to my everything I need, and I'm going to be moving in eventually, then to me that's like, you kind of just do it, right? And then the rent is just a bonus to, you can get some equity pay down and can help you cover costs for the short term before you move in.
Yeah.
But if you were to buy a detached home, your mortgage would start getting paid down right away.
Yeah.
You've got income coming in right away.
That's true.
You know, because with pre-construction, you're just banking on appreciation.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you bought a home now, you're getting your mortgage paid down.
Which I do think that one particularly would do well. But yeah,
it would. But
anything
if you bought,
exactly.
If you bought a detached in Hamilton or St. Catharines,
they all will. Then
it's like, that's appreciating too, and maybe not the same because that's a mint area that you're looking at. But
yeah.
There's a lot of variables, right?
Totally. Yeah, no, all things I'll be considering.
Yeah. What are some of your short-term goals, Lorenzo, and long-term goals going forward? Have you thought about that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Has your head been down too much?
It's definitely been down a lot. Short-term, it's mostly just kind of just the team we have right now. We got a really good, like, we kind of had a big transition year, so just building that team as much as possible to the point where maybe in a year from now they don't necessarily need me every day. Like, they're kind of self-sufficient. So that'd probably be like my next year goal, is taking that team that we have right now and getting.
Sure, that'd be huge for you.
Massive, right? To be getting to the point where like, hey, like we don't need obviously someone like myself to be like on them every 2 seconds or be like the final guy to look at everything. So
what would you do with that extra time?
It'd just be other stuff within the business. Right now I can start doing stuff that we've been kind of had on hold for a long time because nobody's had time for it. So like anything like obviously back end stuff, operations wise, and making sure everything's also running smoothly would be stuff I'd be going into on that side. So there's definitely tons of stuff I can fill the time with. So once I'm kind of pulled out of, not necessarily the day to day, obviously still be in that, but just kind of like the actual nitty gritty of it. And if I can get everyone else to be that good, that would be fantastic. So obviously start doing other things that need to definitely get done as well. Long term different. Obviously, a lot of vision and stuff planned with like how obviously it'd be like BM like how everything's gonna go there. So just kind of being the transition, everything like that with like Mike and myself, and how Dave and Dan are obviously trying to like eventually like they want to be doing this forever too, right? So definitely like kind of work on that transition. So definitely a long term plan there. And then honestly just buy properties. Definitely want to try to get definitely a couple more properties in the next couple of years as well if I can. And yeah, that's pretty much it. My big plan, when I always said, look, when I was like, my big plan by like 35, 40 probably, I just want to be like, not like retired, but just in a spot where like, oh, I'm good now.
You could retire.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I ever would, to be honest. And who knows? Maybe I'll just get so fat, like who knows? But I don't think I don't think I'm the type of person that just can do nothing, to be honest with you. Like even when I was like, I'm always had to be doing like, even if I was younger, just have to be going 100 miles an hour or else I get really bored quick. So I don't think I'd ever do it, but just to the point where it's like, oh, okay, like I don't have to do everything every day.
Yeah.
Right. And then that to me, that's like, oh, that's cool. So like, that's kind of like my end goal.
Yeah, I don't think there's like any time in your life where you'd be upset at having assets.
Yeah. No, never.
No, yeah, and that's why I'm like,
And
and all of us, like, we just want to own these.
Exactly.
It just gives you power
as soon as we can, yeah.
And the biggest thing too, especially like we're seeing it right now, the market's obviously going like slightly down, or right now we're seeing a little bit of tightening, like obviously potentially recession oncoming. And it's like, this is the time when it's like, if you have an asset and to hold it, obviously if you have, or you can buy something, like could be a fantastic time to buy, 100%, for you, right? So
100%.
This is something where I'm like, hey, this is where kind of really makes people, like, shapes investors and stuff like that. People will look back at this 10 years from now saying, thank God I held through it. Like, right, everyone looks at the charts Tom and Nick would show. He used to show all the charts from like the 93 crash, the 08 little blip that happened. It wasn't even that bad here, right?
Canada,
but,
was like,
it was like, no, there's like a blip in the radar. So, but when you see stuff like that, you're like, it's always still trending upward, right? Like, if you look at it over a 30-year period, it's still trending upward. So if you can like hold through, like, I think you're like in 10 years from now, like every year that passes, you're like, damn, thank God.
Yeah, your mortgage is still getting paid down.
100%.
You might have cash flow still coming in. I know cash flow is getting squeezed, but
and even if you're losing a bit of money, like a couple $100 a month, $1,000 a month, like obviously plan for yourself to be able to afford that. But you look at it like you're not losing money; it's a savings account. Right? Like, imagine instead of you giving money to your financial advisor, like taking a piece of your paycheck and putting it in the stock market, you're just putting it in a house.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same idea. And obviously the house shown probably likely do a bit better anyway. Yeah. So it's like, that's the way I kind of look at it. Even if you are like losing money, obviously if you can buy for cash flow, definitely do. Like, I was fortunate. My place does did cash flow. Still does actually. But anyways, I was fortunate in that and I was able to get one that does. But even if it wasn't, like, I was okay with that. I was like, it's a savings account, right? As long as you budget your life properly, it's just a savings account for me. And that's going to keep going up eventually.
Totally. Yeah. Like, if you're looking at the stats and just the population stats, and then obviously the money printing, I know it's a little different right now, but that's not going to take long till that.
Yeah. Interest rates are still like historically low.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're just used to it, 6 months ago. So we're like, interest rates are up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, man, it's big picture.
And to be fair, like, someone like, did you really think it was going to stay at 1.8% for the whole time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's obviously not feasible as well, right?
And I wouldn't be surprised in the next 12 months they're, lowering again.
100%.
Money's coming back in the system and everything's going crazy again. And everyone's
like, they're going to have to. Absolutely.
It's going to happen.
It's already getting priced into, like, we've obviously, part of our job to be watching, obviously, like, the market's really close to the bond market specifically. That bases a lot of rates. And you already see it's starting to come slightly down a little bit. It's starting to trend. And when those yields, bond yields, when those yields start coming down, the rates will come with it. And it's just at this point, it's just something that they're starting to price something in, right? Now, is the Bank Canada going to start lowering rates? What rate? Probably not. They have to get inflation down. But it's definitely something that's starting to get priced in with the yields coming down, stuff like that, where eventually, 12 months from now, we're likely going to see a drop in rates to kind of, they're going to push us into recession. Inflation's going to say, hey, we beat inflation. And then they're going to have to bring it down to re-stimulate the
revert
economy.
Course again.
Yeah, exactly. And just go back. And it's just a big cycle, right?
So you're saying just hold on.
Yeah. And that's always my thing, right? It's always just with anything, right? Even if the Bitcoin, the stocks, like, just if it's something good, obviously there's some stuff where it's like, hey, sometimes you got to just like cut your losses. But if it's something that you're like, especially if you've done your research and this is going to be good for me. Yeah.
You need that long-term conviction.
Yeah, and it's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, then everyone would just do it.
Well, yeah,
right?
and it makes sense that if someone's not educated on what's happening in real estate and everything that's going around them, like with the monetary system, I can see why it would be concerning, or you're not 100% on this, investment. You need to educate yourself and understand what's happening to be confident in the decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't cash flow until I bought my third property, which covered the negative cash flow in the first two, because the first two I was so leveraged. But I was living at home. I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And I knew between me and my buddy and my other buddy who bought the second property with me, we could carry it because we were all still living at home. And we had the excess cash flow because we were all working full time and stuff. And it wasn't until I got the third one that we finally started cash flowing. Interest rates are up. I haven't even looked at it. We might be break even across the board, but we can still carry it. Yeah. So we're okay with that. And we were convinced long term that it would pan out. Yeah. It really has.
When did you buy the first one? How many years? I know, but how many years ago when did you buy the first one?
3 years ago.
And how is that for you now?
It's been incredible. I bought another one.
Exactly.
So
that's the whole thing with people too, right? It's like I haven't, and you probably can't talk to one person that over probably say 5+ years or 10 years that I've been like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Like bought a property, right? Like I don't think I've ever met anyone that says like that, especially over 10 years. Like over 2-3 years, maybe it's gonna hurt a bit, but over 10 years, you can't really find, you'd be hard pressed to find many people that'd be like, I should never have done that.
And Anthony, it's been awesome what you've been able to do with your buddies, pulling your friends together, going on joint ventures with them.
Well, it's crazy because when I bought my first property, I told my buddy, I bought it with a good buddy of mine. And then my other buddy was like, oh, you bought a rental? Like, because we had talked about it a little bit. His parents had rentals. And he was an electrician. He'd been working for a while, but he didn't take it seriously. And he was like, yeah, I'll get one. Was in no rush. As soon as I bought one, it was like it lit a fire under his butt.
Now,
and then he bought one like 3 months later.
Okay.
As soon as he bought one, my other good buddy was like, you guys are buying rental properties? We're like, yeah, this is how it is. Gave him like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, taught him everything, whatever. Yeah. And then he buys a property in St. Catharines. So now 3 of us have property in St. Catharines. Awesome. My other buddy calls me and he's like, what are you doing? You're buying properties. You're looking for another partner.
Wow. Look at you. You're getting the whole gang.
So then he comes on board. And then another buddy after that goes and is like, oh, you guys are buying properties? So it's just like lit up this chain reaction amongst all my friends. And like,
that's so cool to see that play out.
It's so cool. And now like it's given us all a purpose aside from just working our day jobs or whatever. It's given us this like secondary purpose, and we're all working to this bigger vision where we can retire early. We can have the option to. We can live life on our terms, right?
That's what it's all for. Like, it's as much as the slogan. That's literally what it's for. Just to be able to say, hey, like I want to live life how I want to do. I don't want to have someone tell me what to do.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that is for someone. But that's literally it's the pursuit of freedom, basically.
Yeah.
And freedom. Your properties, it's awesome because they're all in St. Catharines, right?
Yeah, about like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Smart,
because you go there and you can check them all out, do whatever you have to do. If you're filling, you're already there.
Yeah. Inspection days are easy. Just book your 3 inspections.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's worked out. But just to like your point about like the buddy that you have that goes to the gym, it's like making you get into fitness. Like just, surrounding yourself with other people who are doing it. Because you're like, oh man, if Aiden can do it, if Lorenzo can do it, I can do it.
Totally.
Like, what's the difference,
And it's 100% helpful because I can ask Lorenzo, I can ask Anthony if I have a question, if I have a problem. Yeah, it's just easier.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have anything else for Lorenzo here?
I guess, is there any books or podcasts you've listened to recently that you really were like, damn, I should share that?
Books, not necessarily. Honestly, again, I should probably read more books. I just don't have enough time, to be honest with you, to read a ton of stuff. Like 90% of my days literally just wake up, go to bed. Yeah. So not necessarily. I do read a lot of stuff of what's going on in the market and stuff like that. Obviously, I want to keep myself really like in tune with that. Obviously, it's part of our job. Podcasts, I listen to whenever if I'm ever driving anywhere. I'll listen to like a couple different podcasts. Like Joe Rogan's always like
classic.
Classic stuff there. There's one like Value Tame, and like we'll listen to some of that every once in a while. But yeah, it's pretty much it. What about you guys?
Right now I'm on a whole bunch of different ones. I like the Best Business Show from Pomp. There's a couple. I like What Bitcoin Did. That's Peter McCormack, another Bitcoin one. Those are probably the 2 main ones I like to listen to. But obviously, if there's a good guest on someone else's podcast, I'll listen. Just anything.
Yeah.
I'll listen to anything.
Yeah. I've listened to so many podcasts at this point. Joe Rogan's definitely my favorite.
Yeah, Rogan's awesome.
He's just
those are good. So good. I love even when he has some of those science guys on.
Yeah. I listen to most of them just because they're good. Like
I like listening to the space ones. Anything with him
the guy's incredible because he can have a comedian on one day and then the next he has like a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
And he can speak to both in such a like
impressive,
entertaining way.
I just started Elon Musk and the Nelk Boys. Just
did they really?
The podcast yesterday, and I'm like, that's a crazy combo. I saw them, the Nelk Boys. I saw them in the Croatian airport last week.
Because they were there.
I ran into them. It was so funny. Yeah.
That's cool.
But I guess that's it.
Perfect.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thank you, man. This was really cool.
No, I appreciate us having me. It's fantastic.
Totally. We'll do this again.
I'm in.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. You can find every new episode of the Your Life, Your Terms show on all the major streaming platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. And if you'd like to get free copies of some of the books that we've put together, like these right here, or some of the reports that we've put together, like these right here, you can find all of those at www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's it for now. Until next time, your life, your terms.